What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 7 of EUphoria. I'm your host, Daniel Drakos, joined by, as always, Martin Deficio. This is the show about all things EU West. EU LCS. We're starting strong today.
We don't talk about the Nordics here.
No, not today. All right, we're going to be doing a couple different things. We're going to be trying a new segment called Viable. We're going to be doing some more playoff predictions. We'll be doing our Quickshots as well, our quickfire prediction segment. And our special topics of the day are patch 8.4 and a deep dive on our special guest, Jankos. Jankos, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be there.
Nice PR statement over here.
Hello.
I respect that.
I'm such a nice guy.
Yeah, you're the nicest.
I'm kind of a nice guy, though. It's kind of true, no?
I mean,
it's kind of
you're
true.
pretty nice.
I have never had any issues with you, ever. I don't think so, at least. Have you ever been mad at me? Or have I been mad at you? Probably
No,
not.
I don't think so. But
Yeah.
I was never mad at anyone.
Oh, okay.
From EU LCS, probably.
You were never mad at another player?
I mean, maybe. Not really. I mean, why would I? It's like kind of everyone likes the same thing. Everyone likes League of Legends. So there is no reason. I mean, I was mad at my teammates. But I was never mad at other players.
Okay. See, very wholesome. I like it.
You've been called many things in the past. There's a First Blood King. We'll talk about First Blood King later. But I also feel like you're the new king of mic check, and that every week we hear you spouting different things. Like last week was, I can play any jungler with Smite. No!
I mean, I just normally when it's my day-by-day basis, I don't drink coffee. I drink black tea, or in the past I did drink coffee or drink coffee, but lately I changed to just drink a little bit of black tea, so I don't have so much caffeine, and then it boosts me on LCS days. And then I'm a guy that can talk non-stop, and especially when I'm excited. When I'm excited, I can just sit and just like, and I cannot shut my mouth, you know. Like even this week or last week when we were playing against Splice or against the Giants, Perks asked me like, "Hey, dude, can you shut your mouth for 30 seconds? Like, please, I need to be quiet. Like, can you just shut your 40 seconds, 30 seconds? Like, please be quiet. Like, my head is exploding." And I was like, "Hey, you know what? Every single one of my previous teammates asked me the same thing. Like, can I be quiet on stage for a little?" Yeah.
And I will tell all the viewers right now that Jankos already drank his coffee.
Oh, yeah.
This morning. This is going to be one of those where he will talk probably non-stop for 2 hours.
Yeah.
See, I'm glad to hear that Perks told you to stay quiet for at least a moment, because I was kind of talking to Drakos about that, being like, if you have a player who for the entire pregame is just constantly talking, at some point you must lose focus. Like you and also your teammates, or they want to discuss something important about the game and you're just screaming about like whatever crazy stuff. Like, there must be at some point where it's like, okay, Jankos, you're now muted. Like everyone else gets to talk for a while.
Yeah, I just sometimes I just kind of say things that my tongue just like screaming out of me, kind of like is weird, because normally I don't think about like what I'm saying. I mean, I do normally when I want to say something smart, but usually I don't want to say something smart because I don't say smart stuff. I'm just not the kind of person. But
welcome to the EUphoria podcast. Feeling right at home.
I'm just sitting on stage and talking and making the mood like better, like more chill, less kind of serious.
There you go.
I like it. I think it's a good strategy. Apparently, though, it's not just on stage where you make the mood less serious, because we have multiple of your previous teammates asking us very specific questions.
Teammates.
Yeah, previous and current, asking you some pretty personal questions. We have more Twitter questions later in the podcast. We thought we'd start with just one, get the ball rolling a little bit. So for a hard-hitting analytical question here from your teammate Perks, why do you always grab his right boob when he's playing solo queue?
I don't think it's always right boob. Sometimes it's left boob. But so it's just that I need synergy with my teammates, right? And it just happens naturally that I need to know, if he's happy playing solo queue or...
Oh, so you're basing on the nipple. Okay, it's more the nipple you're going for.
Yeah,
see if he's excited.
Yeah, exactly. When he's sitting there and playing, next to his desk, I can't really do anything.
Is he ever happy or excited then when he?
Yeah, I mean, I think he gets really happy when I do it. I mean, maybe he always screams at me, or maybe doesn't scream at me, but he kind of pretends to be mad. But I'm sure that on the inside he's really happy, and he knows that I remember about him, you know. And it was similar story with Fabian. That I was trying to like build my synergy with Fabi as well, so I would always grab him by 2 nipples instead of 1.
And what's impressive here is I've been to the old H3K gaming house, and the setup you guys had actually had you sitting next to Odo Amne, and then a wall on the other side. So you had to basically turn around, stand up, and actually walk to get to Fabi's desk in order to do this. So it wasn't just a random thing where you're just sitting down. You actually had to do something in order to go grab his.
I mean, later on we changed the setup, and I was sitting next to the toilet, so I had to walk to the other part of the room.
Decided to put you next to the toilet.
But it's more like, I sit next to Perks now. So sometimes I watch him in solo queue, or, I watch him play Fortnite, and it just happens naturally. But when it comes to Fabian, though, it was, I mean, it's just we have some fun. I keep in mind, like, we live 6 or 5 men in a single gaming house for, like, the past 3-4 years. Like, sometimes you just got to have some fun, Like,
this is what happens apparently behind the scenes, everyone.
You told me that you could talk about literally anything, Jankos. And here we go. You've already proven it, because you could probably give me, I feel like, another 10 minutes. And you're even worse, Deficio, because you're talking about the specific mechanics of it.
Hey, I'm painting a picture here for the viewers. It's a podcast. All they can do is listen, and we gotta put an image in their head.
Yeah, but it's not that sexual, though. I just stand up, and I just walk up to him, and I just grab his nipple.
Yeah, that's an okay.
But not like soft way, like hard way. But it's because, like,
like what's that called? Like,
but not
twist nipple twister.
Yeah, kind of. But I don't twist it. I just like grab it, and then he knows I'm there, and then I just walk off. And then he knows that I care about him, kind of. He knows that, what? Like, you are playing solo queue, but I didn't forget about you.
Have you ever just said it with words like "I care about you," "I appreciate you," instead of maybe the nipple part?
I no, I'm not really good at compliments.
That's okay.
Okay.
Sometimes it's non-verbal communication.
We all have weaknesses,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
how
as long as they're down with it, man, you keep doing you.
Yeah, I just, sometimes I just grab boobs. But don't be scared of Deficio, don't be scared Drakos. Like,
you're sitting too far away anyway, so.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all good, Jankos. It's all
I'll
good.
have to stand up and walk
It's a safe place, man. We're just having a good time. All right, guys, we're going to be trying a new segment this week. It's called Viable. And how this is going to work is, as you know, competitive meta is pretty small. And I'm going to try to help the people at home. We're going to help expand the competitive meta, folks. And how we're going to do this is I'm going to give a list of 4 champions to Deficio and Jankos. They're each going to pick one of the 4 champions. And I'm going to give them 90 seconds to convince me that champion could be viable in competitive play. They can argue however they want, use whatever tactics, tell me about scrims, anything to convince me that one of these champions is viable and can be used. Whoever has the better argument at the end will be picked as the winner of the week.
It's competition now.
Oh, yeah. You got to give me the best argument.
Okay.
Best argument. All right, so I'm going to list the 4 champions. I'm going to give you each a chance to pick one, and then we'll start, all right? So I will make a rule, because first pick has more options, that they have to go first too. Okay.
Okay. So who got first pick?
You're gonna get first pick this week, Deficio, because I want you to.
I'm
set
always
the stage.
last.
I want you to
Finally.
set the stage. So this week's champion, chosen completely by trying to find the worst champions in the game, are Amumu, Garen, Aatrox, and Tryndamere.
So you pick first.
He picks first. You pick second, and then Deficio gets.
Okay, I'm ready.
And it's for competitive use.
You have to convince me that it's viable in competitive play. Any means necessary.
Ooh, I'm either on Garen or Aatrox. Because, Aatrox could technically work. I'm going Garen for mine. I mean, I got so much experience playing him in solo queue. I'm pretty confident I can make Garen work in competitive.
Okay. Well, since I'm a jungler, I can choose between Aatrox and Amumu. And I will go with Amumu there, yeah.
Okay.
Amumu,
So,
yeah.
Deficio, you're going to get to go first. I have a timer in front of me.
Okay.
Are you ready?
How much do we have? Like,
you have a
what's
minute,
the
30
timer?
seconds. So 90 seconds.
Okay. Oh, I'll smash you. Okay.
I mean, you can lie all you want.
What?
I mean,
Amumu is a good champion.
I need compelling, hard-hitting analysis. All right.
So actually, okay, I'll actually try.
And I should not interrupt the Fisher, should I?
No, don't interrupt Deficio.
Okay.
I'll
Let
actually
Deficio go.
try-
You can laugh, obviously, because it's going to be.
I will
a
actually
fun
try
time.
to make sense of like how Garen could be used.
Okay.
Okay, I'm interested as well.
Yeah.
I'm still playing scrims, players are
Yeah,
not
this
there,
could
we
be a
can
new
still
champion.
test stuff.
All right. Are you ready, Deficio?
Yes.
And it's 90 seconds rather starts now.
So first of all, we have to look at Garen's kit. There's actually a lot of really good things for competitive play. There's a silence. How do you counter silence? You can't, so that's already overpowered. Executing ult, amazing when you're finishing off a target. Damage reduction on his W, great. Wave clear on his E. He brings everything to the table you actually want from a champion. Now, what I like the most about Garen is the amount of cheese you can do in the early game. Because imagine Spellbook top lane Garen. Starts with Smite in the game, steals enemy red buff, and level 2, he just goes all in on the enemy mid laner. How do you counter that? He has a silence, he has a red buff, he has a flash. That's a guaranteed kill already. Garen is ahead, he goes back to top lane, and we all know Garen can't lose lane. At least I've never lost lane on Garen when I play him. You just can't kill tanks, that's a bit of a problem. But let's say he's against a squishy target. Right there, you play around the Garen lane, all in for ganks, silence E, no one ever escapes, he runs you down, gets level 6, you tower dive because you can just reduce damage from turret, and he becomes a snowball pick. Late game, have you guys ever tried full crit Garen? That is insane. If you ever get into the team fight with full crit Garen and you don't get CC'd by anyone, you can actually one-shot basically 2 carries at once because he can spin and deal AoE damage. So I think as long as the team can play around Garen early, have CC for him in team fights to go in, and he can go full crit, Garen can carry games.
There you go.
I'm convinced.
It's
I will
there.
play a full AD Garen
my
and hope
God.
that no one sees me.
Faker told me he's gonna play it.
Oh! That was my argument. God damn, Deficio.
Absolutely fantastic, Deficio. A lot of components to that argument: the red buff, spellbook, the full crit, and
He still gets the crit from
nobody
E, right?
CCs you. It's like nobody pushes their buttons. You can kill anyone. All right. I mean, that's good. Yeah.
You are
to
good
beat
at
that.
talking, Deficio. It will be difficult. Yeah.
My
Since-
job is basically lying to everyone all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, my job is actually trying to be truthful to my teammates, what I
right,
think is good.
let's-
and not, and yeah.
And
I
Momo.
want you to show me that
Momo,
truth
yeah.
right now. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds, Jankos.
I mean,
to
it will be
Momo.
difficult. I'm not good at talking so fast English as the Fisher,
It's
so
okay.
I'll
It's
try my
okay.
best,
Are you
guys.
ready?
I'm ready. Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
ready? And go.
So obviously, Amumu is one of the best jungle picks. Why, do you ask me? First of all, you can build him AP and full tank. You cannot build AD Amumu, but still. Also, his E is a passive that deals so much damage. It's insane damage. It also reduces the damage from the monsters. So not only you cannot die in the jungle, but also if you, for some reason, go 1v5 in a team fight, all you have to do is soak everything, and then, if you soak the auto attack damage, you will just E, and then you will kind of smash everyone. His ult is AoE stun, AoE hold actually, but it's so big that you cannot miss it. Even you are like probably the worst player in League of Legends, you will still play Mumu to his probably the best win condition, which is 5 melt in a team fight. If you go full AP Mumu, you can one shot everyone. You know what's the best about Mumu? You can Q flash and you can also ult flash, and you cannot miss those abilities if you do that. Also, his W is a % damage in the jungle, so you can kind of farm really well, since right now what Riot did is, nerf all the AP junglers, and they're all really useless, and you really don't want to build the AP enchant, so all you do is go Cinderhulk, and you are unkillable, pretty much, Also, he needs friends. So that's why people kind of, walk into him, and if you walk into Amumu, you just die. And I just think the champ is pretty broken right now.
Right.
And also, ambition, that, world champion told me that is good, so yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, ambition.
Does ambition beat Faker now? I guess it does.
I mean, last time he won, so
Yeah.
I don't see why
I guess
not.
I got one-upped.
I think you got one up, dude.
Then what beats ambition now?
No, nothing beats ambition. But so here's the deciding factor for me. I mean, it's hard because the Garen argument was good. But what ultimately sold me was not the argument, but it was the passion
Definitely
from
true.
Jankos. I didn't hear you get fired up about Garen, Deficio. This man over here, I'm convinced that he legitimately believes that Amumu is insane.
I will have you know, though, that you can easily miss a Mumu ult if you're really bad.
Yeah, that's true.
I've seen a lot of people miss a
But
Mumu ult.
hey, you know what? It's not true.
No, of course, everyone can
This is outside the 90-second argument period. Your arguments, unfortunately, are invalid. Deficio, I apologize. This week's winner of Viable is Jankos.
For sure, it's like Amumu is pretty hard champ. Like it's actually easy, but it's hard at the same time because you need to skid your skill shots, and that's the hard part. Like if you are playing, let's say Volibear, you don't need skill shots. That's why I might play Volibear this week since I just
revealed on the podcast ahead of time.
I mean, it's just so easy, right? Easy champs are something I should.
Remember, that's not that's with the sparkling.
That's sparkling, right?
Yeah, this is water. All right.
Okay, well, that sucks.
So Jankos is the winner, guys. As we get ready for our next segment, if you
I feel like this was rigged from the start.
If you enjoyed this segment, let us know on Twitter. And if you have any suggestions for the next list of 4 champions that should be used for guests to pick from, let us know using the hashtag Viable. Tweet at me or Deficio or LOL Esports. Any of those are going to work. But that is going to do it.
I have another argument. You know, Amumu is actually played in bronze. So a lot of the bronze people
Garen,
will
man.
like me. Okay. I think Garen's played a bit less, no? What do you think?
Hold on.
I really think that...
Amumu is definitely banned a lot.
Yeah.
Amumu gets banned.
Like split broken team fights.
I'm not spending 20 minutes of a podcast talking about Amumu and Garen.
We've already talked about Jankos.
That's why we limit it to 90 seconds.
It's
boys.
true. All right.
All right. Viable is donezo. Let's go on to the next topic. All right, gentlemen, next topic is patch 8.4. We've now officially had 1 week on it. We've seen some changes to the meta, some mandatory item purchases, some items removed. But since we have a jungler here today, I thought it would be good to start by talking a little bit about Tracker's Knife. So Jankos...
Rest in peace.
Yeah, it's gone. How do you actually feel about this change, Tracker's Knife being removed, wards kind of being taken away from junglers?
Personally, I don't mind. Why? Well, I'm a fan of red and blue smite. I just don't like to build green smite, but I had to because that was the meta. And you couldn't really go red smite in the LCS, but now you can, so I'm really happy about it. The one bad thing though is that Perks is a crying little brat, baby. And he doesn't like the fact that there is no wards from the jungle. You know, jungle is more of a kind of carry role now. And
you got a ward in Trinket.
You have exactly, and he has one as well, right? Yeah. So why would he need wards from me? If he's good at the lane, he will win it anyway without vision.
I agree, 100%.
All you have to do is just have game sense when to all-in enemy with like all, when the whole map is
I didn't hear Faker cry when I talked to him, so I think
it's not good enough.
Garen mid-pick?
Yeah.
One thing that it bothers me is that Lee Sin is... I mean, people talk about Lee Sin not being good anymore since, they removed Tracker's Knife, but I actually think it's not bad. You can still go blue or red smite on Lee, and you can have the mastery that reduces the trinket cooldown, and you hop with trinkets and pings. And I think in season 5 or 4 there was you had to actually build sidestone or you had to buy wards to hop.
Yes, Lee Sin sidestone, I remember that.
Yeah. Lee Sin sidestone was a normal thing, but even before sidestone you still had to buy wards back in the day. Yep. So it's kind of, since I'm a veteran player, I remember where I had to spend 75 gold to actually jump. And, for my ability to be useful, I had to, pay, 75 gold. So it was pretty crazy. And right now it's kind of similar, but you still have trinkets. So I still think Lee Sin is kind of fine. Maybe not as strong as some other red smite jungles, but I would say that maybe he will be played a little bit.
So you said, obviously, that it's becoming more of a carry role. I mean, last week we still had Sejuani, Zac, these kind of things picked the most.
I was playing Skarner, 0 for Skarner in fact, and I was playing Sejuani as well.
Yeah, so do you actually think we're going to move away from some of those pure tank, Skarner's not a pure tank, obviously he's a good duelist, but Sejuani and Zac are more the pure tank junglers. Are we moving more towards Jax and these kind of things becoming the best picks, or will Sejuani Zac still be the best despite Tracker's Knife? I
mean, we have to realize that maybe people don't like tanks. Maybe they feel like we want more carries in the jungle, we want Lee Sin Elise or, Kha'Zix back. But what we also have to realize is that Zac is pretty OP if you don't have vision and he can jump on you from every angle on the whole map, So I don't think we will see Zac or Sejuani not being played, but I just feel like if Sejuani and Zac are out, then you can pick so many different champions right now, because it just seems like if you don't build wards and you have red smite, you can just duel everyone. But I saw in NA, I think NA jungles build way more blue smite over red smite, and in Europe we prefer red smite. So in Europe we kind of have balls to fight people, and that's why we need red smite, because we know we'll be fighting. Meanwhile in NA they want to gank people, so they just blue smite.
Yeah, Febiven talked about this in an interview, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and he said that European junglers are all I'm not sure he said hate each other, but at least there's more rivalries, and you really want to destroy this guy who's been trash talking or whatever. So they're like way more aggressive at fighting other junglers, and they're like trying to carry the game and be dueling a lot, which does fit their skirmishes.
I mean, is that? Well, let's actually like talk about that, Sam, because that's interesting. At any point in your competitive career, have you been like, I'm gonna play a champion that kills people because I want to kill this other jungler?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay.
It works.
It's nothing better. Okay, if a laner 1v1s other laner, that's something you can expect. Because, it's laners, they fight 24/7. But if a jungler just goes into enemy jungle and finds him and kills him, everyone is happy. Because at this moment, you play 5v4 on the map. And there's nothing that can stop me or help enemy laners. Because, you know what? Not only I'm in the jungle, toying with their jungler and kind of slapping him, but also I'm grabbing their mid lane by boobs. So yeah, there's nothing they can do. I'm behind them, but in front of them as well, and
full control. I remember actually when that happened to you, IEM Katowice, when you play against Flash Wolves, and Kasa did this to you, where he basically wrecked you completely in your own jungle, took every raptor, and then after the tournament, you returned to Europe, and you were like, I have learned so much from playing against Kasa. Apparently, whenever Raptors spawn, the camp that gives the most experience, you should be there and fight for it. And it was amazing to see all European junglers shift based on one tournament, something where you actually like, that should be pretty obvious, mid lane control, grab enemy Raptor camp. Which is,
of course, why we had explicitly talked about it before as a broadcast.
Yes, of course we had. But I remember Kasa doing that to you and actually carrying the game.
Yeah, but I did it. I mean, at that moment in that game, I knew about it already because it happened in scrims throughout the week, and it happened before in the matches, and we all knew that pushing and invading is important, and that's what we used against Fnatic next week after I
you did.
And since that game, I didn't beat them for 1 year now. But good times, I destroyed them that time. And what matters is that I won back in the day, and I also, after that tournament, started timing jungle camps. I realized that maybe it's useful.
Oh, you didn't do that before?
No, I was really lazy. But as you see, that's a thing. You are kind of lazy and you don't do it. But you should do it every game, but you are lazy, so you don't. And right now, I still have problems with it. Or I don't have problems because adding, let's say, 2.5 minutes to every camp you take is not that difficult. Let's say it's 7 minutes and then it's 9:30. I still have to practice sometimes, but it's kind of natural now. And it's really important to kind of know when enemy jungle camps spawn, yeah. And your own camps as well.
Okay, so basically, we talked about, Trackers Knife gone, still tanks being played.
And then you insulted Jankos.
Then we chatted about Febivent's point about the European junglers want to beat the other jungler real badly, more skirmishes, Red Smite in Europe. Tanks are still going to be there, but otherwise a ton of carries. When it comes to playing as a team without Trackers Knife and as many wards, like, what kind of difference did you notice the most there?
I noticed that if you give up Nash, it's not good.
That's definitely not smart.
But
that was not smart before either.
Yeah, that was not. Obviously, that's made worse by the other change, which is Banner.
I mean, it's
and
just
we'll
that
hit Banner in a second.
Yeah, like I know it's really difficult to play passive matchups now. If you go for scaling comp, and I learned that through really hard games on the last weekend. If you go for full scaling, and you cannot stall the game is really difficult. And when we played against Splice, I felt like if we knew that the minion, the material Wawa, can destroy the banner minions, then we would probably stall the game more, and maybe we could win that game as well. And we learned that, fortunately, against Giants, and we were able to stall the game through 2 Nashors and 1 Elder, which was pretty good. And then, late game came in.
Also, thanks to Giants for not just legit tower diving without a flashing kill.
That is good. That is true.
That probably helped us.
That was a point yesterday in our conversation after scrims where, we could lose that. But, if you win a game when, you are 10k behind, then enemy, made mistakes, and that's how we lost against Fnatic. We made mistakes. So basically, I just think that without Tracker's Knife, for sure, the early game is more interesting, and you can try pick different jungles right now. Since if you don't go for Seju'Zak, if people go for, let's say, Kha'Zix or Lee Sin or all those carry jungles because they want to play carry with red blue smite, you can also go for some Ivern or some supportive jungle picks. So yeah, I mean, I think the patch is good. I think the fact that we have different style of play right now because everyone is going for more early game. Is kind of correct, and it's just people like to see that for sure. No, after all the Ardent Worlds and everything, where you just pick tank everywhere, Bave AD carry.
Yeah.
I'm curious though. One thing that was like there was kind of a debate as to whether or not you said the early game's more exciting, but there's a debate as to whether or not removing green wards would make, or the green smite would make people more passive or more aggressive. Do you feel like people are willing to play more aggressive without division?
I mean, it's not like people are willing to play more aggressive. It's just that they don't see you. So even if they are playing passive, you will abuse someone, you know, because you just have, let's say, in League of Legends, you have champions and minions and towers and drakes. And
That's what we got.
And that is why you can just punish people. No, but in League of Legends, there is like a correct play and incorrect play probably.
By the book.
By the book, yeah. And, you know, if you play well, and you play around the minions and you play around your tempo, even if opponents are playing, let's say, you know, passive, they are probably playing incorrectly, and you can still get kills or get objectives, you know. And at some point you will bait them into doing something, and then you will kill them, because if they give up everything because, you know, they are not willing to fight, or they are not willing to contest the vision, or they are not willing to do anything, then, you know, you have pings all over the river, all of your lanes are playing really aggressive, you go into enemy jungle, he cannot do anything. So I just think that removing the smite, even if people don't want to play aggressive, they will just lose the game because they just don't have any vision, and if they are not willing to fight for the vision, they will, you know.
Yeah, so that's actually why I think one of the reasons we have aggressive games despite less wards is due to the Baron buffs and ban of command. If we had the old Baron buff, so just the one before 8.4 hadn't been changed at all, banner hadn't been hot fixed or anything, we saw a lot of games where people would get Baron, do nothing with Baron, we would stall the game even further, they would do that 3 or 4 times. Then I think we could see the passive teams actually work better, because losing Baron wasn't that bad. But I think the combination of having way less wards you can place, a Baron buff that is pretty insane if you get it as a team, plus the banner, that is the combination of those two things that means, okay, you can't actually afford to play just pure scaling against good teams.
Yeah.
I think if we just had only one of the changes, we could see more focus on playing for late game, and then maybe we would have more passive early games because people couldn't see anything, so they got scared, and they're like, it's safer. Dylan Falco talked about this in his interview. He said, like, in best of one, sometimes it's just safer to just draft a scaling comp and kind of know that the enemy team is not going to be able to execute and snowball the game. So you're just always going to get to the late game.
That's what Fnatic.
Yeah, that's what Fnatic is doing, right?
The Sivir picks over and over
so
again, right?
that is a little bit riskier now due to how good Baron is. But technically, if it wasn't for how sick Baron plus Banner is, that is correct.
I think second Elder Drake is also a big thing, but it just comes.
But it takes so long.
I mean, yeah,
to
you're
get
already
there.
at late game when you're.
Then you're in the late game. You have 4 to 5 items on your carries, Victor, Sivir, whatever it is, and you can obviously fight for the Drake, because at that point, being 10k gold behind probably doesn't mean that much.
I mean, that's what happened to us, kind of. You know, against Giants, we were so behind, but we knew that if they get the first Elder, it doesn't really matter. If they get the second one, we lost the game. So what we did is that, you know, we gave up everything and then just fought and we won, and they trolled a bit, but we trolled before that. So the important thing is, though, that still, even if you are getting really outscaled, there is second Elder. And even if it's a 50-50, there is chance you will win the game based by just getting that Drake. So when the patch hit and when I saw the LCS and everyone was building banner and the games were ending 20 minutes and whoever got the lead was just ending the game, I thought it's kind of too much, you know, like maybe one of the changes was good, but maybe both banner and Baron is too much. But now when I look at it, and when you can use the item to destroy the banner minion, I actually think if, you know, the team is smart and wants to stall the game, he can still kind of stall it, because you just need that item and you can probably stall like two stacks is 1 Nashor. And it's just kind of, it's still possible to stall for probably like 1 or 2 maybe maximum of Nashors. So you can still go for like 30-40 minutes game if you want to play it safe. but also the winning team is more rewarded for getting Nash, and if they don't let you walk up to the cannon, you will not be able to clear it, and then you will losing it. So I don't know if it's healthy for the game. Maybe I would nerf the Nash banner minion to, let's say, take the inhib turret in not 8 hits, but let's say 12 or 10.
Yeah, a little nerf.
Yeah, a little
not
nerf,
a big
but
one.
I think it's kind of good though. I like changes. Overall, I like League of Legends for not being stale like that much. Even though the champions being played are usually similar, then the game still changes. And some people hate it because we as pro players have to adapt, and it takes a lot to spam the game 24/7 to learn new champion or to learn the game all over again. But I actually don't mind the changes right now.
So this is my concern, right? And maybe I'm wrong here, but the thing that I don't like is that we're in a situation where supports and top laners basically have to build banner, right? I think it's fair to say. I think we've seen some people not do it, but I'm under the impression that generally they have to. And also we have a situation where people are forced into taking the minion dematerializer as a mastery. And I feel like if there's one item that multiple roles have to build every game, and one mastery that multiple roles have to take every game for this one specific interaction, that feels like a little much to me, right? That feels like it's clearly too strong. And even if teams are starting to learn to play around it, that doesn't feel like a good thing in the meta.
No, I agree. I think that's why I think nerfing how good the minion is when you buff it with banner, as Jankos highlighted, would be a good way to do it. It doesn't have to be an insane nerf where you just completely kill the item, because I actually like the item being there, because it does add more to snowballing.
It's kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah, and the first patch we had coming into LCS, we had 50, 60-minute games because no one could finish the game. It was just wave clear versus weak Baron minions, and you could just stall forever. So I like banner being in the meta, but obviously it is a little bit too strong, because Dematerializer does have a range on it, which again can get punished. And I think one thing teams, and some European teams messed this up really badly, and they're going to learn this for this week. They would split up with the banner and be like, let's go 1-3-1 and put banner in the mid lane. And it's no, because now the support just walks up to the banner. No one can kill him.
Banner is the strongest champion on your team.
And he just dematerializes it. Just 5 men together on that cannon, or at least 4 members, and stand in front of it. And then if the enemy team wants to fight you, because you ideally are ahead at this point in the game, because it's the first Baron, you've been able to get it, you fight them. You just fight them. But European teams, especially something I noticed in Europe, are so scared of towers when they shouldn't be. 25 minutes into the game, if you're ahead, you have an early game comp, you have already picked up Baron, and you are standing at the enemy inhib turret, and some teams are I don't want to stand in front of this cannon because I might be too close to the enemy turret, so I'm just going to stand behind it instead and cheer it on. Be yeah, go cannon, you can do it. And then of course it dies and you don't snowball. I'm that turret in front of you, your tank can take so many hits already at this point in the game.
Especially that the Warmog is in the game, and
exactly.
I just think that
just
when
don't
it
be
comes
afraid
to
of it.
banner being OP, it's just every we have a meta, and in the meta there will be something overpowered, and that's how normally mobile games, or even if League of Legends works, right? Previous Worlds or previous year, 2016, we had we had buffing supports with Ardent Sensor, and for me, I was really, really displeased with that, because I'm a jungler and I cannot kill AD carry that gets so much lifesteal, and the item was so cheap, and he would the item was nerfed so many times, and right now it's not being played that much, but back in the day it was so OP and no one could see it, and I would talk to Jay hey Jay, maybe you should play Janna, and she's I will play some Braum. And back then everyone would think melee supports are good, but the truth was that Janna was just so broken, and
Ardent Sensor Janna,
and right now it's same with banner, and we build Warmog every game that will get nerfed soon, and we build there was I remember Black Cleaver meta, and there were AoE Smite meta. In every meta there will be something OP or something that will just be played every game because it's good, and I think we just have to we should already be used to that, and our fans should be as well, because right now it's brief of some fresh wind in the scene, since the games are ending fast, and when the other team gets dash, people force fights, instead of just hugging the turret, they force fight.
That part was good.
That's what people like to see. They like to see fights. They like to see something exciting. They don't like to see 60-minute games where it's 5 kills and Sivir has over 1,000 CS. I don't want to see that either. So I think that's it's a good thing. Maybe a little hot fixes or maybe a little tweaks and the game is good.
So as a final question to round this out, we saw people already adapting to Banner of the Command, already coming up with new strategies. So just as a last point, how developed do you think 8.4 is from a meta perspective? Is it still just going to be this ban Camille, pick Sai on top every game, counter pick Sai on top, play some different junglers, play around Baron at 20 minutes every game, everyone builds Banner of Command, or are we going to start to see more and more kind of diverse strategies come out?
So I'm obviously not sitting in the scrims, so I don't know what is developed there, but just from watching 8.4 and different regions play, now LCK is going to start playing it this week as well. We're going to learn more from that. I think what often happens is just when a patch hits, people figure out like the best 1 or 2 picks per role, and they kind of dominate how comps are being built. Like Sion is an example here, where like Sion is just picked in every game, and there's a lot of champs you can't play against him in lane because he just wins lane then, and then you're like, my champs are useless. Like teams are just gonna start like banning Sion, and it's being like, you know what? We can actually pick 5 other top laners if Sion is gone, so let's just get rid of Sion. 5 other picks are now available, and that can shift the meta. I think we might. If the problem is people feel forced to play tanks top because they can build banner. I just wonder if Sion is banned. I feel like every tank top is risky to pick laning wise. Maybe Cho'Gath also being the exception, but there is room for a lot of carry tops who could punish like Ornn or could punish like a Maokai jungle. I could see some teams try and change it up and say, let's ban some of the best tank tops, pick a carry top laner and try and shut down this guy who's going to rush Banner of Command or get it as a second item and then just like destroy him because of it. And that could shift the meta around a little bit for top.
So I don't want you to give anything away, Jankos, from your experience in scrims, but do you feel like you're seeing more progress and people trying more things?
I mean, for sure, even against us, Giants tried Kled top lane, which was, maybe in the early game it was really difficult for him, but later on you cannot do anything against Kled as a tank. So I think that people will start to figure it out, and especially Sion is a new pick, and even though he has really strong laning phase, he doesn't scale that well in split push because people can still kill him. I mean, he's kind of safe, and his ult is...
runs away.
Sion is good. Sion is a good champion. Don't get me wrong, but there is ways to play around it, and I think people will, figure it out. When it comes to NA, for example, they don't build banner every game. From what I saw from watching NA this weekend, so I'm not sure if they are not on the hype train just yet, or maybe they already figured out that people can punish you too hard on lane if you rush this item. But on the other hand, the item is really cheap and it gives you good statistics.
Yeah,
so that's something
really bad.
like So it's not a bad item, It's kind of strong. That's why we see it every game. That's why jungle, support, and top lane can all build it, since it builds from edges and gives you good armor and CDR as well, which is pretty important. So I think we'll see new picks for sure, especially that as long as we have 6 bans, right? So if people target one role, you will obviously see new picks. And right now in the jungle, we see, Volibear being played, Lee Sin being played, we see some Kha'Zix, we see still Sejuani Zag, obviously, but we saw some Ivern this weekend in Europe, for example. On the top lane, we saw Kled. Like, there will be people that are willing to try more and play the game more risky than the others. For example, us as G2, this weekend, we didn't really try anything new. We kind of fall back on the old.
You guys were so boring to watch.
Yeah,
I had to cast both your games.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think we were boring to watch, but we kind of went with that because it's just how we were used to play the game, and we thought that even with picks that are not the strongest early game, we can still play the game well. But not only our picks were not like that optimal in the meta, but also we were really boosted at like tempo play and at other stuff. So I'm happy that yesterday in scrims we actually didn't suck so much.
Hey,
good news.
That's progress, meta evolution.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I was getting spanked a bit by other team. I felt good because I could feel learning. I could feel that we are getting better.
Right. The spanking taught you something, and you felt like you were improving because.
Yeah, and then I walked up to Perks and the grappling bike.
You can always circle back.
Once a segment, baby. All right, so our next topic is about you, Jankos. We want to know everything about you. You've been around forever now, it feels like. Truly a veteran player. So let's go back to the old school days.
Yeah.
The early days of Jankos.
It's so sad though.
So fun
I've been
fact.
around forever, but I never won.
Yeah, that because we got to that
We're
part.
going to get to talk
Okay,
about
okay.
the fact that you never won
So
anything.
you
That's
said it
pretty
there.
good.
Fun fact:
Oh, thanks,
Jankos has
guys.
never been in a final. Correct?
Yeah.
You've never made a final in anything. The view.
I mean, not in Europe LCS, yeah, but I won some DreamHack and yeah.
Okay, but like major tournaments.
Oh, okay, so
leagues.
DreamHack. Okay, I see how it is. Okay, yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
no,
I do
did
remember.
not win
I
anything.
remember KMT, the old full Polish lineup that became Rocket. You guys won DreamHack Bucharest.
Yes, sir.
Before the promo tournament in 2014 or late 2013.
13,
it
yeah,
was coming to season 4 because
it's
back
18
then,
now, right? 2018.
Yes, yeah, it's
So
been many years.
whoa! I'm
So,
so old.
For all the viewers who came in the last few years who have not followed Jankos way back, 2014.
He didn't always play for HK.
Yeah, he did not always play for HK. In 2014, there was a full Polish lineup. They were called KMT. They entered the promotion tournament for Season 4, and they 3-0'd a very famous team, the Ninjas in Pyjamas.
with Nugdak.
With Nuke Duck, Mythy,
Holy shit.
Zora Zero, some big names back then, obviously, in that lineup. They got 3-0. Let's not talk about who the manager was of that team. It's not relevant. On KMT, we had Jankos Jungle, Vander was support, top laner was a guy called
Saxus.
Success. Yeah, I was thinking Thursday. It's Success.
Oh
It was
I
Saxus. Yeah.
forgot about this
Success,
lineup. This lineup is so hype.
Overpower was mid lane, who later became a top laner, but he was mid lane back then, and Selavar was the AD carry. Now, these are a lot of names you guys probably will not recognize because they disappeared.
Unless you are a Polish person.
Unless you're a Polish fan.
Then you have
That's
to
true.
try watching over on stream.
Yeah,
you
Overpower
know.
is a streamer now. The other two, Selavar and Saxus, I believe, kind of disappeared.
I mean, Selavar is still playing on Polish scene.
Okay.
You know, there was like a Polish Cup going on IM last
So he's
weekend,
active,
and,
he's
Yeah,
active.
he's active. And Zazus just kind of went back to university after...
So he's gone.
yeah, he's gone.
He's dead to us in esports. So this KMT lineup came in, surprised everyone, 3-0'd. Got picked up by Rocket 2014, and obviously you guys were the full Polish lineup for basically all of 2014. Overpower was back then the biggest star. Believe it or not, people did not talk that much about Jankos in the start of 2014.
Yeah.
Because all Jankos was known for, and a lot of this was thanks to D-Man, who actually came up with this, the old LCS caster, First Blood King. That was the one storyline we had
Thank
for
you,
Jankos.
Diman. It's all I have left. I never went to finals.
There you go. The only thing we talked about with Jankos was the fact that he could play early game junglers, he could get First Blood, and then he could try and get Overpower fed. That was effectively what happened in a lot of those games. And Overpower, he was the man who played Kale mid and Kassadin and carried everything. This Polish lineup though, Jankos, how was it for you when you got into LCS the first time on that team? Because, yeah, it seemed pretty fun, but also a little bit of a mess.
I mean, it was really fun. Back in the day, I obviously wanted to, that was my dream to join the LCS. And when we finally did, and we started playing on stage, all I was kind of hoping for is that we don't drop out after one split, because we still had relegations back then. And the first Polish lineup that made it to LCS actually dropped out after one split. It was MYM. And then afterwards, I just wanted to stay, and I was not really thinking about being top 1. I was just thinking about not being bottom 3. So what happened instead though is that at some point we were first in the bracket, and also we were winning a lot, and people thought we are really boosted and we are winning because we are kind of lucky, but the truth was that we played really well with each other. I think we had a lot of trust in each other, which is really important.
And you had unique strategies. I remember the Pantheon mid you guys ran.
Yeah, Pantheon mid, Malphite top lane, and his jungle was our AP with Deadcap, and it was fun. It was things we were trying in scrims, and they were never working. But they, for some reason, they did work on stage because people, first of all, got caught off guard, but also we were pretty good at executing those comps, you know. And yeah, back in the day, it was really fun to play LCS. Being kind of a new player and not knowing how is the life of a pro player, or you know, what should I play and what's like tempo and everything. Like back in the day, the league was such a different game as well. And yeah, it's kind of
people were very dumb, so a lot of it actually came more down to like good picks that people didn't know how to play against, or like mechanics of like how good could you actually like play.
At least in 2013-14, we already know what's OP pick. But back when League started, like in season 1, people didn't actually know. Like, people just were playing like what they liked, you know, not what was OP. So yeah.
I'm curious, like, at what point do you feel like, because as long as I've been casting EU LCS, right, you've been like top jungler. You've never been even below top 3, I would say, as long as I've been in LCS, right? Some people would argue you're number 1. Some people would have put Trick up there during the G2 dynasty. When do you feel like you actually became like a really, really good jungler?
That's a tough question. I think I was never bad at the game because I had good mechanics, and that's because I play a lot of the game. But I never really felt like I was the best either. Maybe in 2014, back then, we would be really not toxic, but really honest to each other. And if someone would screw up in game, we would be really loud about it. So back then, I didn't know my worth as a player, and I was really like, you know, if my teammates would be like mad at me because I screwed up something, I would get really worried, and I would try to focus on it a lot. So maybe that's how I improved in 2014. And then
tough environment.
Tough environment, yeah. Tough Polish, you know, environment. And in 2015. I had a different lineup, which was still kind of Polish at the beginning of the year, but then became more like English lineup.
Yeah, because it became obviously Nukeduck joined the team.
Nukeduck joined the team. Overpow got moved to the top lane.
Yeah.
And Zazus and Sela were kind of you know, didn't play with us, and then we went with Woolite and
the famous Woolite.
Woolite 80 carry.
Yeah, Woolite, I mean, Woolite is still playing, and he's still the best Polish AD carry. Like, I really don't mind Woolite. It's just that he really hinted me back in the day.
Like, that's the thing. I really liked Woolite. Like, he was mechanically super good. He was such a nice person as well when I met him in the studio every time. I don't know how he is as a teammate, but at least when I met him in the studio.
He was a cool guy, yeah.
Super nice guy.
Just ran to...
But then ran it down mid.
Yeah.
It will always happen. And it's like, we always talk about Woolite. We had a lot of famous European AD carries.
I particularly loved Woolite when I saw him in like Challenger, right? Because I wasn't watching EU as closely during the era where he was playing LCS, because people told me this guy's positioning will be bad. And like 90% of the game I'd be like, what are you talking about? This guy's a monster. Like, how is he a Challenger? And then once a game, like clockwork, he would just die for no reason at all. Was stepping into someone he didn't have any business stepping into.
What I can say is that back then, since I came from the tough Polish lineup, I would be really honest towards people, and instead of trying to kind of make him not feel so bad about his mistakes, I would just kind of smack his mistakes in his face. So
you're a pretty toxic teammate.
Yeah, I was a toxic teammate, but I mean, I was not reflaming people. I would just kind of show them that they can improve on something, right?
Smacking it in his face.
Right on your face.
Your fault.
That's the thing, is it's such a fine line between being like, hey, look, you messed up, you need to fix this, and yo, you're boosted. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, so good days.
But that lineup, obviously, because 2015, I remember there was more hype around Rocket. Also around you specifically, because you had a good 2014 year.
And then we sucked.
And then everything went to, like, it was really bad. But then for summer, you guys swapped out more members. Because Mr. Rallis became your AD carry.
And Steve became top laner.
Steve became your top Steve, of course. Yeah. We gotta bring that one back.
And then we were still kind of bad. But we are not as bad. We almost beat Origin in the Gauntlet.
Yes.
That was really close.
And that is your greatest achievement outside of Worlds. You almost beat Origin in that Gauntlet.
Hey, but why are you... No, it's not true. I mean, yeah, well, it's kind of true. I mean...
That was a great series.
That was a great series, but it was only the Gauntlet. And, you know, I'm a third place player.
Yeah.
I was always third place for my whole life.
But imagine if you had beaten Origin there, you could have gone to Worlds, and the Origin team that made top 4, you would have knocked them out.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would have been pretty sick. And
it was against Ven and Miffy.
It was. All the way to 5 games, baby.
And in the end, I never beat, but no one ever did beat Miffy anyway, right? When Miffy was there.
Yeah, he tends to win most of his best of 5s.
Yeah. I mean, I kicked him out of the LCS.
And G2 beat him in the first final when G2 was in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There you go.
So he lost something.
So, Jankos, that was 2015, obviously, also still on Rocket. 2016.
H2K era.
It's H2K time.
Mm.
This was probably the highlight in terms of competitiveness for you.
For sure.
Obviously, with there were multiple
what
HK
was the
lineups.
starting lineup?
The starting lineup back then, correct me if I'm completely wrong here, but you guys had Ryu mid lane, because Febiven was actually on the team when H2K qualified to the LCS with the expansion tournament, but then he instantly left for Fnatic. And he was like, goodbye, thank you, I'm gone. So it was you were the jungler, you had Oda on the top lane, basically ever since you were on H2K. Ryu was mid. Bot lane from the original H2K lineup, was that Forgiven straight away?
It was Forgiven straight away with Vander as well, yeah.
And Vander, so that was like a star lineup with the names.
Following in the classic history of assembling EU super teams.
That was definitely a super team being put together, but I could imagine that the environment probably wasn't the greatest.
I mean, I think that in 2016, all I cared about was winning, since I was not winning in 2015. So I wanted to improve, and I felt like I improved a lot actually in 2016, because I learned a lot of new things I didn't know. And
you had Pro as coach?
Yeah, and I had Pro as a coach, which was like always when you change a team and you have a new coach. I mean, at least now I can say it after changing the teams, 3-4 times, and the players as well. You learn something new. Like, even if you know so much about the game, you can learn something new from another guy or another coach or another player. So yeah, the environment was kind of 50-50, because we were really emotional team, so that what made us kind of, maybe, I'm not sure if a weak is a correct word, because we were still not a bad team, but it was really difficult to sometimes practice efficiently, and actually learning on our mistakes.
Yeah, because I just remember, we looked at a lineup, and you guys were always at the top of the standings, but you were never the best. And going into playoffs, we always hyped up H2K. We were like, this lineup is so sick, Forgiven AD carry, he's gonna smack everyone in the bot lane. Jankos is the best jungler in Europe. It's all there. And then every single playoffs in the EU LCS, H2K lost and never made the final. I think the closest you got,
clockwork,
but it was every time. The closest you got was that summer playoffs when you played 5 games against Splice, and the five NARs happened 5-time
NAR versus 5 GP. Was that what it was?
I think it was. And you
NAR
played
GP.
Rek'Sai all 5 games.
I'm not sure. Like in playoffs, I think back in the day also we thought that early game is really strong, and we would also only go for early game comps, because we couldn't, with that lineup, we couldn't play for a late game. We couldn't play team
You could just win lane, win game.
So yeah, win lane, win game, and we didn't, for example, know that Kindred was broken, and we would only play Graves, but Kindred was actually like a better pick. And then we had same thing with Rek'Sai Gragas, which we thought Rek'Sai is winning every scrim, so it's really good. But then on stage, Gragas is better, because if there is no kills for 10 minutes, Gragas will just be so much stronger, and kind of overpowered. So that's also why we won a lot of our early games, because we always draft for it, and we were not really good at Nash baits. We were not really good at what to do except for pushing a couple of towers, and it didn't change really, because we tried to change it, we tried to learn, and I felt like we actually did. That's why we went so far in the end, because we went as the second place to Worlds, and we went to semis, and yeah, for sure we did not play with the best teams, but we played some good teams, and we were still not bad at the game. But yeah, we could not get much better with that lineup unless we would change our mentality. That's what I feel like.
Which was probably not possible.
Which was probably not possible at all, yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
I was curious, though, because you talk about being this team that's very early game focused, and I think, we talked so much about H2K on broadcast, and I think people in general about H2K, probably the brilliant mind, the macro team, so smart. Do you feel like that was like a correct label? Do you guys feel like you were a really good macro team in the early game, or do you feel like you were always like very focused on individual performance?
I think we were focused on individual performance, and Forgiven would usually win the lane really hard because he would like pick like, let's say, Karma Caitlyn or
stand the enemy turret,
and we would just kind of like not leave enemy turret, which was something we could do at that time. So we would grab some turrets, and that's how we would snowball, because we would just basically set him up, like he would go for the top, we would go to like vision around him, me and Vander, and it would work against like the most of the teams, right? Because if you draft for it, you can actually play to push the turret back. At least back then, when the turrets, like afterwards, the turrets got buffed a bit, I think, but we also got more gold from it. But it was, I think, 2017 or something. Anyways, though, the point is that you could play back then, playing only around like pushing bot and just being around there and just pushing the turret, and then your top lane would play tank role and your mid lane would have push, and there was nothing opponents could do. But we were just not good at closing up the game, because enemies would usually like the enemies that won against us usually would lose the early game, but they would stall the game well. And
you guys would mess up a Baron or something.
We would mess up a Baron, or we would not know how to push to their base, or we would never dive. Like that's why and then our team fights were like really 50-50 as well, because it just seemed like not everyone trusted each other, and instead of like being like kind of together and moving as a unit, we would just do solo plays. So that's why our team fights were like always like kind of crazy, which I'm really happy that right now in G2, and also even last year H2K, even though we were like top 4 only, we didn't go towards, we were the 4th team, we still kind of played way better, I felt like, in team fights and as a team than we were in 2016.
Okay, so you basically feel like the 2017 lineup became stronger than the 2016 because
I mean, I think that 2017 would, I'm not sure if we would beat the 2016, because 2016 would like, I mean, it depends on the patch as well, right? I mean, we were bad. I would say that in 2017, we kind of not gave up, but we could have for sure, we had better like selling, we could be so much better than we were, but more potential, but in the end we were kind of like not good at the game. Like I felt like Che, for example, was a bit lazy, because he was so smart and so good, but he would just not talk about like, he would not talk so much in analysis or try to help his teammates. And I feel like that's a good thing in G2 right now, is that everyone's trying to help each other, and everyone is honest with each other, and everyone is kind of supportive, and we are not it's not even about like, people can be straightforward, you can be toxic in a good way, but you should always try to help your teammates and actually like show them their mistakes so they can work on them instead of just shitting on them.
Now the whole H2K era, so the 2 years basically, 2016 2017, became super important for this next little topic and this thing that's kind of been haunting you, which is their choking in playoffs. And no one expected you on Rocket to like win playoffs and go to Worlds, so that was different. But on H2K with this lineup, everyone was like, okay, this team should be able to make the final. Like spring, summer, I feel like almost both years that was the case. And this was also one of the Twitter questions, like Jad asked the question about.
And I think, it's something that we've wondered about for a long time, because it's hard for us to tell, right? Like at a certain point, when you lose this, like when you go from playing really well in regular season, you start losing this consistently, especially when the format was like best of 3, so it wasn't even like you're swapping from best of 1 to a best of series. I mean, do you feel like it was choking when you guys were like losing there? Do you feel like you played much worse in those high pressure games? What was your kind of perception as to what went wrong?
I just felt like, to be honest, it could be choking for sure. Like it could be me just playing worse in playoffs, but it could be also the fact that I felt like the games that we won in a regular season, it didn't feel like throughout the season we improved much. It seemed like a lot of the teams in 2017 and 16, like as H2K, we would peak in regular season and we wouldn't actually improve for playoffs. And then if we would go with the same strat and with the same kind of, level of play into the playoffs, and team would actually work hard and improve, we would just kind of, lose. And I felt like against Splice, for example, we could have won and we have been in the finals, but back in the day I was really emotional, and I felt like we shouldn't lose the 4th game, and the mistakes that we done were unacceptable, because I would call every single one of those like in game before it happened, and it will still happen because people wouldn't listen or wouldn't focus. And in 5th game, for example, I kind of not really ran it down, because I don't mean to like run it down, but I just played really bad. Like in the 5th game against Splice, I played really bad, and against, and then I actually don't remember who we played against in the second 2016 summer. Oh, summer was actually Splice.
Summer was Splice.
And spring was. Who was spring?
I don't remember
either.
I don't remember who it was. Fnatic maybe or something, or G2.
I think we met Fnatic in the 3rd, 4th place, so it had to be maybe G2.
It was a trend.
Okay.
Well, anyways, though, the point is
it was Origin. It was Origin.
Yeah, it was Origin with Sven and Miffy, which is it was before Sven and Miffy.
Yeah, they were on the team.
They were on the team.
They
yeah.
were on the team. That was like the last season where they were really not that good in regular season, and then like super duper ramped up.
Yeah. I mean, it was the team that had like brain compared to our team. How I felt like. So that is why also it felt like, we just didn't improve as much as we could have in the regular season, and that's why our playoffs runs were not so great. But also you can say that I was choking, and also you can say that maybe I just didn't play to a high enough level to actually carry my team. Because if my team is expecting me to carry, or if I'm like a player that is really important in the lineup and I'm supposed to kind of play well, and then I don't do anything to win the game, or I don't lead the team in well enough to win the game, then you can put it on me, Maybe I was just not good enough, maybe I was choking.
See, the thing for me about the whole Jankos choking, I think 2016, you guys as H2K, and I think you specifically did play worse in playoffs than you did in regular season, but it's hard as a jungler also if the other teams are improving how to play the early game, they get better vision, they get better understanding when they can get ganked or not. It's harder to play a jungler, obviously, and your team, as you said, didn't really improve for playoffs. I think 2017, I personally felt like the choking in playoffs kind of died for you specifically, because while you guys lost the series, like I think it was 3-0 at least in the summer split.
In the summer split, we lost 3-0 against G2, and it just at that moment it was already
the team was broken.
Yeah, the team was kind of broken. Like we were trying, but it didn't feel like we are actually. It didn't feel like we believe in ourselves, and this is the worst thing that can happen to a team.
But from what I remember, you actually played well in that series. Like, the team played super poorly, especially your bot lane, in spring playoffs as well. If people don't remember, it was like Fnatic destroying Nuclear and Che down the bottom lane.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely destroying them, like, completely. And then you guys didn't lane swap when you could have, and they got destroyed again, and it was horrible. But I remember just going out of those series after 2017 being like, you know what? Jankos actually played well individually, but the team had already fallen apart and were just way worse than whatever they played against. So, to me, the whole choking in playoff for you specifically was mainly 2016. And I think in 2017, you actually did change that a little bit. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it is now. Because, that's just my opinion of how you
sorry
played.
to interrupt you, but I'm not sure if I agree, because I don't know if in 2016 it was choking or me or us being bad at the game.
I think it was a team thing, mainly.
If you are a good team, it's easy to look good in the jungle, right?
Yes.
Kind of. Because if your lanes are winning and you play well around vision, the jungle doesn't need to do that much, right? Like, all I have to do is just be in the correct place at the right time. But you can also carry from the jungle. But I just felt like throughout the years, people with like less mechanics but more brain would just kind of become better, because the game is more of a team thing. Every year, it just feels like the game is just more about like team stuff.
100%.
And that's why I felt like the teams that were actually like good as a team would beat maybe the individual like skilled teams, because people could argue that Forgiven would be probably one of the best mechanical AD carries, like compared to like Sven or like Reckless. Even though Sven and Reckless are probably as equal skilled when it comes to mechanics, but I just feel like Reckless and Sven just kind of know the game better and know what to do to help their teammates, not only play for themselves, and that's why in 2017 maybe I just felt like we stopped believing in ourselves at the end of the split, or maybe we were just too bad. Like, maybe we just didn't know, like, we were so bad that we didn't know what to focus on to be better. It was first time I've heard like what is called a tempo play, and like tempo is in G2 in this year. So I know I learned so much.
That's pretty bad.
Yes. So yeah.
I also just mean about the story of choking. I just didn't feel like it was there last year for you. Like, I didn't feel like for you personally. It was
actually, I wanted to address it, but I was talking today about something else. Is that also we had a sport psychologist in H2K, so I would talk to him and try to improve my performance when it comes to handling emotions on stage, handling emotions like in scrims, and just being in my always like in my prime or like in my zone. So maybe that kind of helped me as well.
Now I'm curious now, like present day, now on G2, things appear to be going well. They were a little bit rough at first, but how do you feel about the G2 environment? You said you've now learned the phrase tempo, which is clearly
That's a good phrase.
A step in the right direction. But you also talked about like, you know, not having confidence in each other, breaking a team. Do you have a lot of confidence in this G2 lineup?
Yeah. I mean, for now, it's not going that well, right? We are top 2. And this week we did not look good, but I think already yesterday we improved quite a lot, I would say, because I know Perks is just a person I really like to work with because he's really pushing forward for us to improve because, you know, he won like last 4 titles. So he just knows a lot of that, like a lot more about the game than any single one of us. Like even the coach knows less about the game, I feel like, than Perks. And you know, when I joined G2 in an interview, I said that I felt like Wodit and Hjernan are a little bit behind when it comes to game knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe I'm like a little bit ahead because I played in a better team, and same goes for like Wonderwear. But, you know, obviously Perks was always like kind of the best because he just played in the best team for like such a long while, and he would kind of teach us the game. And now at this moment, we kind of try to teach each other the game, and we kind of, you know, talk about the mistakes, talk what is the best, especially in this new patch when, you know, the meta changed and you play the game a bit different. It's really important for all of us to give feedback and all of us kind of think how to play the game and not only like 1 or 2 people carrying or shot calling. You know, it's really important that you work as 5 and not as 2 or 3. So that's why I kind of line the lineup, because it just seems like all of us are trying to work together to actually achieve something, and that is probably the most healthy team environment I had in a while. But we will see what happens after we lose, you know, because the like, I mean, not that we will lose.
If you lose.
Yeah, if you lose, exactly. This is like the true test for the team. If you lose, and you still have to believe in the lineup, and you still have to try your best, and especially when you play for like, you know, play the gauntlet, or you play the third, 4th place, or you play, or you know, you lost in regular season to Fnatic, and then you almost lost to, and then you got destroyed by Splice and almost lost to Giants because for some reason you are playing worse. So yeah, I mean, it's just when you lose, it's a test for the team. So
yeah. All right, well, I'm excited to see how G2 develops. I'm glad to hear that this is the best environment.
Healthiest.
That you have faith in the team. We'll see. We'll check in with you if the team does lose. And
it actually feels like you've been plagued by very, I'm going to call them toxic lineups in the past. Emotional lineups, that's a better word, since you basically joined the LCS until now with G2. So that's going to be interesting for playoffs.
I agree. I'm ready to see it.
same.
All right, next up is our playoff predictions. We don't think that this is going to be a big update this week, but there are some things that probably need to be changed. So as a reminder, we did playoff predictions on PGL, then we did them on the last episode with Kasing, and this is what we came up with. First place Fnatic, second place G2, third place Misfits, fourth place Splice, fifth place Schalke 04, and sixth place Unicorns of Love. Yeah, you said it best, Deficio. Whoops on the
Jankos, what do you think about this list?
Is it like a top? The playoff prediction which teams are going to playoffs?
Yes, we made this before last week to say we think these are the 6 teams and the standings.
After week 9.
I understand. I just thought maybe it's the prediction who will win playoffs, you know? And then casting would say like, yeah, we are 4th place. I would lose my faith in that team. But for sure, Schalke is not doing so well right now. I think that they, for some reason, are playing worse on stage than in scrims. Like, honestly,
every week.
Honestly, Screaming Schalke is probably one of the most learning experiences you can have, because they are not really going for the kills, because, you know, it seems like Boris is really he has them on a leash, and even, you know, if the jungle doesn't want to play tanks, he will still play tanks, and they are playing really well macro game, and you can learn from them. But on stage, it just feels like they are not playing bad, they are just not playing the best, but also they make 1 or 2 mistakes that just kind of lose the game, and Upset, you know, and you can say, again, Upset could be choking. People say that loud, but I just think that Upset is, I know he's such a great AD carry, but it just feels like he makes this one mistake, you know. But also people are looking at him and people are saying like he needs to carry, but no, he doesn't need to carry. They play as a team. It's not his mistake that they are losing.
Yeah, I think with Schalke, the more I look at Schalke and more think about it, the more frustrated I get, because again, I think there are so many things that could be good, but I think on stage they are trying to play too perfect. And I don't think you have to do that in Europe. I think you can take chances, you can play more aggressive comps, and win games with it. I think Giants tried to do it against G2 and almost beat them, which you would say on paper that G2 should win against Giants every time. But Giants drafted a super aggressive composition and almost punished G2 with it. So that's something that I'm kind of missing, at least Schalke trying. Yeah. Because earlier in the split, the best Schalke game I actually watched was Schalke versus G2 Esports. Nuke Dog on LeBlanc, Perks on Zoe, back and forth game, insane fighting, Nuke Dog being a hard carry, unleashed, and like making stuff happen that you didn't expect to see. And that stood out to me of like, wow, I want to see more of that Schalke. But then the last few weeks, it's been very slow. I'm also not seeing Visichachi getting utilized at all.
Yeah.
And of course, the meta is tanks tops most of the time. But if you have Visichachi, the one tank he was always good on was Shen.
Yeah, he was good.
Because then you could force more plays and you could put Chachi in the fight. Mm-hmm. Now what happens is Chachi often sits in the side lane, typically on a champion where he doesn't have a lot of impact. He pushes his side lane, he roams to his team, says, guys, are we doing something? Nope, let's go back to the side lane. And like, try and put Chachi in a carry matchup.
Yeah.
When he played Camille, he did stuff.
Yeah, but the issue is that if you put Chachi on a carry, you put Pride Stalker on a tank, and Pride Stalker...
They do that already. They
do that already, I agree. I think though, like in this meta, they can actually try to make Pride play more of a carry jungle.
I agree, that could be another one.
Right now it's red smite, blue smite meta, and also you can cheese way more. So I think he could kind of find himself in that meta.
Just give us something where we're like, okay, it's not just a traditional cookie cutter comp that wants to play slow, play perfect macro. You're not an LCK team. You don't have to be one. You can win games because you have some really good individual players who can play more carry champions and try and draft that way, at least on stage for once, because the current style is not working.
But keep in mind though, it's on stage, people show what they practice in scrims, and you cannot just draft aggressive match like for us last week, like we couldn't just draft aggressive peaks because we did not. Exactly. You need to first make the difference in scrims, and when you slowly learn, then you can kind of adapt on stage. But you cannot just randomly pick something else that you didn't practice, because you will not be used to it, and you will maybe play even worse than you did.
And it's actually sad because I love the fact that trying to play this style, and
I just think that people tunnel too much on the perfect game, and it's always at the cost of like individual playmaking, inspiration, or individual talent. Like if you want to play the perfect game, you need 5 players to play one exact role dependent on the meta. But you don't have that. You have Nuke Duck, who can be a playmaker. Visichachi is a great Shen, and maybe Shen's not an S tier pick, but if it's an A tier pick and Visichachi can play it like an S tier pick, just give him the damn champion.
So, Schalke out of our top 6, no longer playoffs. I think they have to win every game at this point.
They play against us.
And they play against G2 Esports. So that's obviously impossible.
I mean, we were not that great, we are not playing that great.
I think we take Schalke out.
Agreed.
Replacing Schalke in our playoffs, though, we have Giants, Rocket, Vitality,
I think Vitality
and H2K. I think Vitality is the
spot back. I mean, because clearly they're going to get it.
They bounced back.
They
almost beat Fnatic. They did win the first game they played as well. I forgot who they actually played against, but they did win on day 1, which was a fine performance from them. So we looked at Vitality, who lost 4 games in a row, and said everything is falling apart. It's complete garbage. They're not going to win games. But they actually did show good changes.
I think Yamato Kano is a good coach, and even though the team is losing, he can still bring some macro game to the team, and he can still teach them the game, especially that the meta changes. At the same time, though, a lot of the game, like for example against Fnatic, I really thought they would win, but then we have the 2 unlucky smites happen from God Julius himself.
Damn.
But it happened to everyone, and without those 2 mistakes, they would probably win. So for now, they look again like a decent team. Not the best. I would put Misfits and Fnatic for sure over them.
Would you put Splice above them?
Would I put Splice above them? I mean, Splice won against us, but I don't feel like Splice is just like super good team. I think they are probably evenly matched.
Okay.
So that's my question, because right now we have Fnatic, G2, Misfits, which I feel like is a solid top 3. But then we've eliminated Schalke. We've said we're going to put in Vitality, but are we putting in Vitality at like the 4th place slot? Are we putting them in at the 5th place slot? What do we think?
I think the way I look at this is Fnatic 1, G2 2, Splice 3, and maybe even 2 above G2. I can actually see this. I said this to Perks in PGL. Then Misfits, Vitality coming in 4 and 5. And at the moment, I'm inclined to put Vitality 4th, Misfits 5. for how I think the actual playoff is gonna end, like how it's gonna end after week 9.
I mean, with you, I disagree. I mean, I think Fnatic clearly is the best team right now, and
They're like number 1.
Not only they have great individual players, so they can actually play for early game if they want to, but also they have great, like, I know, reckless caps that are just so insane. Like watching they are so good. Like
we
I
agree.
love them.
Fnatic number 1.
Yeah.
Tell me about why Spice will not be number 2.
And then G2, I think can be number 2. I think we just have to win a couple of matches, and I think it's not that difficult because we play. Let's say the mid-tier teams, and
H2K,
if we bounce back to our
Schalke.
performance before Fnatic game or even through Fnatic game, we can for sure be number 2. Number 3, I would put probably Vitality there. I just think that they will win a couple of games now. I'm not sure who do they play, but I really feel like they can actually start winning again now. I just don't feel like strong about their playoff performance overall, but I think they can be third. I think 4th team would be Splice. Yeah, for sure. Splice is a good team right now. 5th team.
Misfits?
Actually, wait, I forgot Misfits. I mean, Misfits are so good. They are so good. They are so good on tempo. They are so, like Misfits are. Oh, I love Misfits. I love watching them. I love learning from them.
See?
Like Maxter is a
Called
smart
them
jungler.
underrated last
like
week.
Misfits are so good, but at the same time they're so bad. Like they're so boosted. I don't know. Like they are losing games for absolute no reason, and I feel like they're playing well on tempo. They understand the game well. They also played this early game style before anyone else, so they are used at that. So
they love.
They for sure are a very good team. And actually, never mind. Misfits are number 3. Vitality is number 4. 5th is Splice, and then 6th is I would bet Unicorns or H2K. But Unicorns have really tough like weeks ahead of them, so maybe even G2.
Oh, H2K. You go H2K.
Oh, I mean, sorry, maybe even H2K, and if not H2K, then Giants.
So why H2K above Giants?
Why H2K above Giants? Because I just feel like I like Selfie.
That's not a reason.
Okay, it just seemed like when they picked up Shook and Selfie, they improved quite a lot. And if they keep their face going up, and they don't, give up free, like they just won't lose for a reason, like for no. I mean, I feel like if they go 0-2, they are done. So if they lose even one game and they get depressed, I think this is an emotional team, and if they start playing bad, they'll just be really boosted. But if they can keep up the performance, going up and up and up, I think they can be good.
You know that they play you first match next week.
Okay, they are not in playoffs.
They're not in playoffs. Okay, so basically, some
Giants.
disagreements around it. I'm fine saying Fnatic 1, G2 2nd, Splice 3rd, even though I actually think Splice could go even higher, but also just because I just want to make fun of you and Perks mainly.
Hold on, though.
I mean, everyone was hyping us up, and then we got destroyed.
So Jankos, just to be clear, Jankos said Fnatic, G2, Misfits, Vitality, Splice, Unicorns of Love, I think was the one that you finally came up with. Martin, which one are you now referring to? You're now talking about...
So I'm going Fnatic first.
Yeah, come on. No, I'm waiting, bro. Just to my face, though. Look at me.
After you told me about the improvements in scrims, I do believe a little bit more in G2,
exactly, so...
Because it's so close, for the fun of it, I'm saying Splice 2nd.
Okay.
Oh my
they're winning games right now. They can actually play early game. I trust in Peter Dunn. I trust in Kissing, the best support in the world. 3rd is going to be G2. 4 is going to be Vitality. 5 is going to be Misfits. And it's not because Misfits are not better than actually some of the teams above them. They are. They're just on stage to try and play these like mid-game comps, and then they make one mistake in a team fight, like with an Ezreal getting hit by a Cho'Gath with both summoners up. Ezreal dies, and then they lose Baron, and then they fall behind and get outscaled.
That's so insane, though.
Misfits gets 5th. Number 6 is between Unicorns or Giants for me. I am scared of Unicorn's schedule where they play all the best teams.
I said Giants, right?
You said a little bit of... You said HK taking earlier when Giants.
What's your sixth? What's your sixth?
My 6 is Giants.
Okay.
I mean, that's the safest bet because they have, I think, 2 wins over anyone else from like the bottom tier.
Is it 1 or 2 wins they have?
Oh, God. Now I have to look it up, guys.
Because that's important for this one. I think Unicorns are a better team than Giants.
But they have a really tough schedule as well. But they won, I think, 4 or 6
Giants are 6 and 8. Unicorns of Love are also 6 and 8. They're both tied.
I'm going Unicorns of Love. They will get number 6. They are the better team. They have Cold, who's playing super well, and I like Samek in team fights now. He stepped it up big time, so that's my playoff.
Okay. Normally I'd make you guys fight for one, but I like that you're both completely different. So to recap, Jankos is, and you can correct me as we go, Jankos, if I missed anything here. Jankos' playoff predictions: Fnatic, G2, Misfits, Vitality, Splice, Giants. That's 1 through 6. Now Deficio's is Fnatic, Splice, 2nd place, Splice, 3rd place, G2, 4th place, Vitality. 5th place, Misfits. And 6th place, Unicorns of Love.
I have a good question. Is Splice still playing Fnatic or no? I'm not sure. But if they do, there is no way they will win. Fnatic.
Splice do not play Fnatic.
Okay, Splice have a chance.
Splice play Actually, wait.
Oh, you agree then with Splice over G2?
I mean, no. I'm just thinking they are not up. Yeah, they are playing
Splice
well.
have a really good schedule. Actually, so do Misfits, to be fair.
The
Both
thing
Splice and
is,
Misfits
strength
have
of
good
schedule for Splice is really great. Strength of schedule for Misfits seems to not matter at all because they will just randomly lose to teams they should be beating really easily.
Hey, you know what, Deficio, though? What I love about the season is that normally, for example, our schedule is really good because we play both Unicorns and H2K, which are the two bottom teams.
Yep.
But in this season,
And
everyone can
Schalke
beat.
too.
Yeah, and everyone can actually beat each other because everyone is kind of not bad. Everyone is kind of decent. So I'm really happy with that. Yeah.
I agree.
I'm happy with it too. I love that you guys are completely different. We'll lock those predictions in. We'll see how they work out. We'll come back at the end of the season to see how wrong you both are. Our next segment is Twitter questions. You guys were kind enough to send in a lot of Twitter questions. We answered some at the start of the day from the G2 members. We've thrown in some from Jat. I think some very interesting ones have come in that we haven't hit yet, though. And so I'm gonna start with one from @Darkoplax, who says, I'm just gonna read the whole thing and then I'll give you the question at the end because he gave us a speech here. Oh yeah, he says, I got a good question. He's called the First Blood King, but so far he only plays tanks! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. 4 Zach games, 4 Sejuani, 3 J4, 2 Skarner, 1 Nunu. What happened, man? Sad face, question mark, question mark, question mark. Kha'Zix, Olaf, Warwick, Rek'Sai, Jax, Camille seem all viable options right now. Why isn't he playing them?
I just think that we as a team work better if I can initiate the fight, and that's what we sometimes base our draft on, and we are not really good at snowballing, which we have to learn. So if we get better at snowballing, I can play carry jungles. If we don't, I have to play initiation, more of a tank role.
Is it also because you are a better overall player now and you don't just have to rely on being good early game to be a good jungler?
I would say that. I think I can play the game without getting lead early, you know?
Here's the question, though. Can you still play those champions if you need to for all the First Blood King?
Could you take Elise right now and get First Blood every game?
Just mess somebody up.
I think so. I don't know, guys. So much stress now. I think I'm still decent at them for sure. I really want to play carry. Like actually, like every day when I'm watching all the junglers are, Contracts playing Lee Sin, Svenskan playing Volibear. Volibear is a kind of a tank, but there's like some people playing carry, and I'm like, please, I really want to play something.
Grabs, if you're listening, he needs to carry.
Like, Grabs was really excited because we actually had a draft prepared for last week where I would not play a Skarner and I would play something else, and I was really excited too because I would not play tank, but it didn't work because they gave us Skarner, but.
So by giving you one of the best picks in the game, they actually messed up your draft.
God damn it, 0 for Skarner. No, but it was okay. If you are playing Skarner against like Olaf ult, Kled ult, and Tamkench eat, and it's fine. It's fine. I kind of know how to play carry still. We'll see.
I'm excited. Hear that, guys? You might want to ban Skarner against Jankos, but you might not. You could see the secret pick. Is it just a mind game? We're going to find out. Next question. Oh, man, there's a lot. Deficio pulled these for me, and one of these is like 7 questions.
That was the fun part. So pick.
Okay, I know. I'm just going to read the whole thing, and I want you to answer 1 or 2 of these questions.
Yeah, sure.
I love Shibas with a 3 instead of an E on love. Says, how long do you think you're going to be able to play? What is your motivation? Any goals for your life? How many hours did it take you from start of playing League to get to Diamond, to tell Challenger?
Okay, so when I started playing, I just spammed games, and I actually don't know how many games I played, but a lot of them for sure, and I was really mad at me when I was losing, so I was really mad at myself when I was losing. My goal in life is to just become a better person overall, and probably after League of Legends, like my career-wise, I would like to be a streamer, I would like to kind of be a public person. That's why I'm also like casting in Polish when I'm not going to Worlds. I always go to like cast in Polish, like the Worlds, because I don't go there. And I do that stuff.
Do you cast the LCS final in Polish as well? Did you never go there?
Except he's always in the third.
No, I still have to be there, so that sucks.
That's
true. I mean, I would prefer to just not be. No, but honestly, I just kind of, I think my career will still be long because I just spam games a lot and I try my best always and I try to improve. So I still think my career will be kind of long, even though it's really long already. But yeah, I have some other goals in life, except for having a girlfriend though. Like, I really want to focus on my career. So that's what I realized.
No girls.
That's what I realized, yeah. I mean, this is another subject for another time I could talk about for a long time, but what I can say is that I'm really focused on my career right now, yeah.
That makes sense. That
Cool.
makes sense. I like it. Thank you for answering the vast majority of
That
those.
was impressive.
You answered them very quickly.
Yeah,
too.
that was good.
All right, last question we're going to ask is from @Fanatic who says, is there another jungler that you would feel threatened by in the EU LCS? If yes, who and why?
I think there's a couple of them. I don't think there is one that I would fear the most. I mean, if Trig would be in Europe, I would probably say Trig because he was always the smartest one. Not only he's Korean, but he's also good mechanically, and he was in a good team and good environment and everything, and he was always good. Right now, I would say that Maxter is really good, Broxa is really good, I guess.
Okay.
So maybe that's it. And I feel like Julius is overhyping him way too much for like how he's playing. So I would not put Julius up there. I would just put Maxter and Broxa as like two really good junglers.
So a lot of people actually criticize Broxa this split for his performance. I just want to know, what is it you think Broxa does really well?
I mean, I'm not sure if it's him, but I think if he wants to, he can be really creative when it comes to his pathing about how to punish people. Even against us, they double killed bot lane because of him, because of his pathing on Skarner. Even though I called it, so yeah. no offense. Yeah, I just think he can be really creative, and also it seems like he plays really well with his team, and he knows who to play around to actually carry the game. And he also stole the Nash a couple of times against Vitality, and that made Julius lose the game, and Broxa had really good smites. And Maxlor, I think he's just he tries to be smart about the game, and he tries to play good macro, and he
does
tries
a piss poor job at it.
I mean, I think that he makes the team play on him as one of the only few junglers in EU LCS, because right now the game is not about the jungle, but he plays well with pressure, he knows what's tempo, he knows what pathing to take, and since he leads the game, his pathing is also always good because the team plays around him well. So I'm really happy with how Maxtor plays, and I'm always excited to face him. Even though we two old misfits, I didn't really feel like I was playing much better than him.
All right. Well, there you have those. Your Twitter questions for the week. We'll ask for some more next week. We'll try to get a few more in. Thank you to everyone who sent them in. Genuinely appreciate it. Thanks for participating in the podcast process. All right. As our final segment, and always, it will be quickfire predictions. This is where I say a matchup, one of the matchups coming in this week, and I say go, and they predict. Deficio and Jankos going toe-to-toe. Weeks 2 through 6, the score was 29 for Deficio, 26 for the guests. Brought down once again by
There you
Alfari.
go.
This week it was 5-5, Kasing and Deficio.
it
So
was a rough
keeping
week.
even.
I mean, you probably predicted us versus Splice. And
I did predict it.
yeah, that is sorry, my
That
bad.
cost me an interview, right?
That's a great interview right there.
So 3-point deficit that Jankos is going to try to make up this week to keep the guests ahead of Deficio.
This only runs till week 9, correct?
Yeah,
Then I
we have
would've
one more week.
won,
Yeah.
basically.
So we're going to get right into it. So let's start. Giants versus Schalke.
Giants.
Schalke.
You have to say go.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot.
But what if we type the same? It's fine, right?
That's fine.
Okay.
We just
I just felt like I have to pick Schalke. Okay, I still can say
You just say
Schalke.
whoever you
Still
think
say
is gonna win.
Schalke.
You say
Vitality versus Unicorns of Love. Go.
Unicorns of Love.
Vitality.
G2 versus H2K.
H2K.
Oh my god. Okay. That's dumb as.
We got 3 different
Okay,
ones.
you're gonna have to explain that. We're gonna come back to that one. Fnatic versus Rocket.
Fnatic.
Fanatic.
That was easy.
Yeah.
Splice versus Misfits.
Splice, I guess. I have to go Splice.
I have to go with Misfits then.
Okay.
Because I put Splice, number 2. I mean, they have to win this game.
All right. Vitality versus Rocket. Go.
Vitality.
Splice versus H2K.
Splice.
Splice, yeah.
You think they're gonna beat G2 but lose to Splice?
Hey.
I mean, we lost to them, right? I mean, we lost to Splice.
All right.
Clearly.
Misfits versus Giants. Go.
Misfits.
Misfits, yeah.
Could actually easily be Giants.
Unicorns of Love versus Fnatic. Go.
Fnatic.
Fanatic.
Schalke versus G2. Go.
This is a tough one. I mean, I should say G2, right? G2, yeah.
I have to go-
say G.
I
what?
go
You
G2.
have to say G2.
I mean, I guess I have to
I
say
go
G2.
G2. I go G2.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say G2. I mean,
You
yeah,
can't- you
the
could-
G2, yeah,
yeah.
G2.
No, if you think
If
Schalke's
you
gonna
think
win,
Schalke's gonna
if
win,
you're
you
gonna
can
hard
predict
into
Schalke.
it, you can get Schalke.
Well, if I really want to win, guys, I have to do that. Schalke. No, G2.
Okay.
Oh, we got a lot of different
There's a
ones.
lot of different ones.
This could ruin my lead. Oh, I could get
Deficio?
super far ahead.
As the man who frequently engages in wagers,
Yes.
which of these matchups would you like to lay down the weekly wager on?
G2 H2K, easily. Like, if H2K wins, Jankos will lose this bet. really hard.
I will choke now.
You're gonna get punished. That's a lot of extra pressure on you.
That is. And I agree that this is a pretty G2 favored matchup. So do you have some elaborate stakes on your end?
I got a few options. Option number 1 is you have to sing a Danish song on your stream, and we record it and clip it out. Option 2 is that you have to be on the analyst desk in the Danish onesie that some mysterious Danish fan used at All-Star 2 years ago. Do you remember that? The full bodysuit with the Danish flag? Where you can really see your junk and everything?
Oh.
It is a skin-tight Denmark flag bodysuit that you have to wear on the analyst desk.
It's wear on the analyst desk. Or the third one, my personal favorite, you have to recreate the Danish video of me cooking the hot dog just in the G2 kitchen. So it's a 30-second video. You got to say the same text just in Polish, and you got to make the hot dog, and we film it, and you have to upload it.
I kind of like all of them.
Well, you got to pick one.
Okay. I'm actually not sure.
Drakos, do you want to be the
I'm
one?
really bad at singing. So Drakos, you have to choose.
Okay,
I'm really
singing
bad
is
at-
gone.
like-
Singing is out.
No. Actually, I think I'll take that. I mean, singing is the easiest one.
Yeah, we have
That's
singing
the-
Danish. There has to be like a Danish, like a Disney song
How
or
are you gonna
something.
teach
Okay,
the Danish song?
I will go with the Danish one. But if I sing in Danish, I will like how do I talk? You know.
I don't know. Wait, so you rather do that?
I mean,
one?
I would like to do the first or the third one. I just don't know which one is better.
Third
Maybe
one.
the fans.
third one. We do third.
I don't know how we're going to do it logistically. I
Or
have no
we
clue.
ask everyone who listens, who got this far into the podcast, to decide. We do a vote. If it's number 1, Jankos will sing I'm going to say a
screw it. Vote.
Danish
Public
Disney
vote.
song.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to upload, of course. Or third one, you have to recreate the video I made for the ticket sales for Copenhagen.
Yeah, sure.
7th or 8th
I'm
April.
fine.
When this podcast releases, we will put a poll on Twitter. It will be on Deficio's Twitter, and we will poll the 3 options, and you guys can pick what you want. Keep in mind, if we recreate the Deficio video, it will be absolute garbage.
But it's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, bad quality.
And you get to wear the...
Because we have the jackets.
Yeah, we have the
Oh, okay.
jacket. You
Okay.
get to
You
wear
know
that one as
what
well.
is cool though? I was actually in cooking school.
This is perfect.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's hype.
So,
Okay.
if G2 wins, Jankos, what should I do? Because keep in mind, the odds are pretty heavily in your favor, but what is my punishment?
I mean, to be honest, I did not think of a lot of punishments. I don't have 3 options for you as you had for me. I would just like your sausage. I mean, like the
You can get it.
the hot dog you made in the hype video. I would like to make me a hot dog, like a Danish.
You want me to
style.
cook you a Danish hot dog?
Yes.
Or make you one? I mean, that I can do that. So I come to your house to do it, or
I mean, you can either come to our house, either you can do it at the studio. Maybe at the studio is even easier for you, since you know.
No, we're going to do it at somebody's house. We're going to make this happen. 'Cause
Yeah,
we
we
want a nice kitchen. We want to record this moment. We want to make
I'll go to your house. I will make you a Danish hot dog
Okay.
if
well,
you win.
if you do go to our house, it's a shame to make one. So maybe you'll make a hot dog from my whole
I will make 6 hot dogs
6 hot
Oh,
dogs.
there it is.
for you guys.
6
okay,
hot
that's
dogs.
great. Yeah, I'm up for that.
All right,
Alright.
just to recap, as we close out here, we'll have a Twitter poll with all 3 of the different bet options for you guys to choose from in the event that H2K beat G2. In the event that G2 beat H2K, Deficio is now required to go to the G2 house
Cook for them.
and cook for them, make them wonderful.
Do you have a chef?
We don't. We actually have a catering, so you being there will be a.
Okay, because so I'm not competing with an actual chef there, like pushing him out of the kitchen to cook.
No, you have all the kitchen for yourself.
There
You can
you
do
go.
whatever you want.
G2 H2K, that's going to be day 1. That is this Friday. Of course, lots of exciting matchups coming up this week. EU LCS. Thank you so much, Jankos, for joining us. It's been hype. Glad to have you.
It's been also kind of emotional.
It's been an emotional
halfway
day.
through.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. Like when we were talking about the old HK lineup and playoffs and these kind of things, I saw a little tear in your eye.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I mean, it was cool to talk to you guys a bit.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thanks to everyone who's listened so far. As a reminder, we're available on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Of course, if you've listened this far, it's probably a little late for me to tell you, but I'm going to tell you anyway. And if you're still looking for an Android option, keep in mind most Android podcast apps do pull from SoundCloud. So whatever app you're using, you might just be able to pull the podcast. Give it a shot. Until then, we will see you guys next time, or talk to you guys next time. See you next week.